What's going on, guys? Me breaking down UFC Vegas 91 today. Quick little recap from UFC 300. Had a absolutely terrible night. My worst of the year, probably my worst night ever. So minus 7.25 units in total on UFC 300. That's a lot for me personally. Typically, as you can tell, I'm not one to put out like multi-unit bets, and so we're pretty risk adverse. And losing 7 units in a night is a lot of a loss for me at my unit size. Some bad reads. I'll go through a full recap at the end. No excuses there. Just got to make the proper adjustments and just be sharper and smarter moving forward. So, overall, I did win money on Cage Warriors and PFL last week, about 2.8 units. I'll do a recap at the end of the video there as well. Let's get right into this card. I'm pretty, I know it's like a lower level, like kind of weird card, but I'm kind of excited for this one. There'll be some fun scraps, a couple, betting spots sticking out to me right now. So let's get right into it. First fight of the night is Maheshate versus Gabriel Benitez. So my first look here, I was thinking about fight doesn't go. So I saw on fight odds, it said the bet online like opened over under at 2.5. So I quickly log on. I'm like, oh shit, it's like minus 125 at 2.5. It's not bad. And it's actually at 1.5. So I waited till Monday until noon for like the openers, and they opened fight doesn't go at minus 160. Was considering it and just like didn't play it because I'm only allowed 250 on openers, and I don't know, I wanted to like hit it harder, maybe on a different book, and that line got steamed to like it hit minus 250 at one point. So my first read was doesn't go. I wouldn't like bet that line now. I do think under 2.5 at minus 150 I saw on Bet365 is not a bad line. But overall in this matchup, guys, I do think Maheshate, yes, he's never been a favorite in 3 UFC fights, but Steve Garcia, Rafa Garcia, and then Vyacheslav Borishev. So, like, 3 pretty tough matchups for a 22, 23-year-old coming up into the UFC. And honestly, watching it back, like, I honestly thought his Vyacheslav, like, the Slava performance wasn't terrible. I mean, Borishev had, better hands there and just a more complete kicking game, and he landed some good shots, did end up knocking out Maheshate there in late round 2. But overall, I do like Maheshate's striking. He's got a good right-hand counter. He's really, really big for the division, pretty long. He'll use that that front teep a good bit. And then on the Benitez side, like, in terms of the fight doesn't go, in terms of like violence, like Benitez, I think his last decision was like 5 years ago. Like, so it's been, in his fights we have seen, like it's been a lot of violence. And I like betting on that for Benitez fights. Because the line's gone minus 210 now. I wouldn't play that for a fight doesn't go. However, I do think there's some value on Maheshate knockout. I'm seeing plus 140 right now. Still waiting on a lot of books to open it up because this fight is like a late notice for late replacement for Gabriel Benitez. But anything about Maheshate KO upwards of like plus 160, 175 would probably be the play. If I have that plus 140 as my only option, or worse, I'm probably playing ITD. I don't think the sub has like that much equity, but we saw Benitez in his last fight. I really think he's like pretty steep decline here. And Maheshate is going to be the more physically imposing, bigger fighter, have more pop. And I think he catches him at some point in this fight. So you give me Maheshate by KO here. Next fight up, we got Ivana Petrovic and Liang. So I will say, I bet Liang here. I bet her first round submission plus 1,800. That line was available for like, I want to say it was around for like a day. You can shop around now. Best available I saw was plus 1,400 first round sub. So I did that for 0.1 units. It's, I don't really rate like Liang, but at the end of the day, the one thing she will do is she'll sell out in round 1. I mean, her striking offensively is not like terrible. She has some pop on her shots. Just defensively, like, she can be chinned. We saw like Gomez land that big was it a right hand on her and like put her out. And we've seen some sketchy performances from Liang. She has no UFC wins, but I want to say it was 18 of her 19 wins are in round 1, 10 of those being first round submissions, and she will sell out for the armbar if it's presented, and that's from guard or from top. So just my read here, like I may play some Petrovic like late props. I do think if this fight extends into round 2, round 3, Ivana probably can find a knockout or a submission. Both are pretty live there if it goes late. But in round 1, I will say that Petrovic versus Carolina, there is a few questionable things I was watching with her grappling. And so right away, she gets a takedown like 2 minutes in, gets reversed from Luana Carolina. And within like 10 seconds, Carolina is like working on like an arm triangle. Like immediately, Ivana gives up an arm. And there's a couple moments even later in the fight where she's like rolling through, trying to grab like a knee bar. She's like, instead of scrambling up, she's like grabbing heel hooks. Just like stuff I don't really like love to see. And if she does engage herself, like try to take Liang Na down, and, you know, not only if she's going to go for an armbar from guard, and if she gets to top any point in this first round, she'll go for an armbar too. So I don't know if she gets it or not. She probably doesn't, but at plus 1,800, I had to take a stab. I don't really, I wouldn't get to a money line either side because, like, yes, there's probably value on Liang Na, but she only has one win past in any fight that extends out of like round 1. So you can probably just get more value on her on the props. I don't think, like I said, it's not a bad take at plus 340 if you're getting her there. I just think there's better ways to play her. So yeah, first round's plus 1,800 for 0.1 unit. Next fight up is James Llontop and Chris Padilla. This is one I have to tape more, I'll be honest. First glance, honestly, this seems like a very wide line for James here. So you're coming off of like Malik Lewis decision, right? He didn't even finish Lewis there. And I don't really rate Malik Lewis. And I understand Padilla's on short notice here, but he did have a fight schedule. I want to say it's like 3 weeks out or so. So he's not like completely not, off the couch. So I know Padilla's coming off. Like I said, end of the day, I wanted to put some more tape here, but I will say at minus 440, I really am not like bullish on James Llontop, but outside of the short notice, like I got to figure out what I would line this fight. If it's just a normal scheduled bout, and then kind of work in and factor how much, the short notice matters here. But I do think Padilla, first glance, has some value on the money line. All right, next fight up. Next fight up is Ketlin Souza and Mann. Souza's coming off a pretty serious knee injury not that long ago. So I don't think Mann is UFC level. Her striking's not great, and I don't really rate her wrestling, and that's what she apparently is. But no, I wouldn't back Souza here at minus 330 coming off like a major injury. She probably gets it done, and are they favoring? They're probably favoring this pretty heavy. You go to decision. What's over 2.5? Yeah, minus 250. So honestly, nothing I like there. Pass on that fight. We have another pass here. We got Cal Machado versus Don'Tale Mayes. I will say I'm not high on either guy. So Machado, yes, he has good volume, but he's not. Other than volume, what can you really say about like that's good about his game? I mean, he's a heavyweight that technically like has some like submissions from guard, but it's really strange to see a guy attempt them. I do think both guys here have like wrestling upside. I don't really think either you can be that confident in their takedown defense. So overall with Mayes though, just in terms of like, I mean, he has level of comp. He's UFC tested. Not that I really love, some of his wins, but at least he's UFC tested. We've seen him. We know what his flaws are and what his capabilities are at this level. And then also too, so level of competition goes to Mayes. I mean, he's a bigger fighter here, probably has like 2-3 inches of reach, 2 inches of height or so. Probably slightly more athletic than Machado as well. I'm not sold on Machado's cardio. I know he pushes through, but I'm not sold there. And then hardware probably goes to Mayes too, but he's not a guy you want to back like in any fight. So I'm just passing on this. I mean, Machado plus 120 was probably the side, and now it's just a pass. So next fight up is Austin Hubbard and Mikel Figlak. So I did bet Mikel Figlak against Fares Siam back in, it's like 2 years back. Minus 195 I got him at. So not really sold on his wrestling after that performance, and kind of looking to fade him after backing him there. Overall, I'm not really high on Austin Hubbard either, but he's a veteran. I do think if there isn't success for like Figlak in the grappling, this can get pretty sketchy if you're holding a minus like 170 ticket or something. So I haven't gone there yet on Hubbard, and really don't think he's like great like anywhere, but he's solid. Like he's all around solid. He's a decent vet, and I really don't know where Figlak's like how to compare him compared to Cage Warriors, compared to UFC like level guys. So right now I'm leaning Hubbard, probably be like a point, like 4 unit, maybe a half unit play if I did get there. But just eyeing it right now, probably won't end up playing it unless it gets to like 170 or 185. Next fight up is Victor Henry and Ronnie Yahya. So I bet this pre-tape initially. So Monday opener, I hit Henry decision plus 180 for 0.4 units. And I thought that was, like a good pre-tape. Like pre-tape, I thought, Henry, I don't really rate him as much as a finisher at the UFC level. I know Yahya is getting older, and he's a bit of a, like a one-trick pony. But he's been historically pretty durable. And like I said, I think Henry here, if he fights smart and just, if you don't give up a back tick in round 1, if you don't make many stupid mistakes early, I do think there's a clear path for here on just, volume, better striking. He does kick a lot, so that is possible wary if Yahya can catch a kick. But overall, guys, like I said, pre-tape, I bet Henry decision plus 180. After taping it, honestly, I'm not sure if I love it. I think it's still like a decent value for this fight, but I don't know, man. I know Henry's never been submitted, but I'm a bit worried about Ronnie Yahya round 1 submission. I haven't played it yet. I want to say it's like you can get plus 2,000 or so out there right now. Not a bad look when that's probably his path. Maybe it could be like round 2. I just don't know, at 39, I feel like he's older than that. I just don't know how his cardio is going to hold up, and that's why I'm kind of regretting the decision bet. I think there is, possible even value on Victor Henry round 3. But overall, I don't love this money line. I do think it's kind of wide. Victor Henry's not a guy I don't think you really want to back at minus 400. So next fight up is Uros Medic versus Tim Means. So I did have a bet here on Uros Medic parlayed up with Timur Khizriev. Was it like minus 119? 1.1 units to win, about 0.97 units there. So I have like Medic and near pick'em. Honestly, after more tape and more research here, I do think that this fight can play out somewhat close until it doesn't. I understand that Tim Means only has one knockout loss on his record, but Holland was a club and sub. Daniel Rodriguez hurt him. I thought there was a few shots. I didn't love the looks for, Alex Morono, who we know is not like a big power puncher. Overall, guys, Means is definitely a dog. He'll fight for your money. Technically speaking, he's not that bad striking. Like, he can keep it competitive here. He is the better wrestler of the two, so it may be hard to get to Medic at minus 300, 75%. But I do think that just speed, youth, athleticism, hardware, a lot of things are in the Medic's side here, and I do think he can find an early knockout. So I will say if he covers minus 300, it's probably an early finish. So I don't hate the under 1.5 right now at plus money. I haven't bet it myself right now. We're just, like I said, that one Medic last leg of that parlay. After more research, I'm not as bullish as I was before. I do think there's a path for Means. I just think at some point, Medic can probably find the shot and end the fight. So next fight up, guys, we got David Onama and Jonathan Pierce. This is right now probably going to be one of my bigger positions on the card. I got David Onama here. First thing I bet was finish only, decision no action, plus 115, half unit. I don't know. Onama obviously I think has the more of a finishing upside here. Obviously, we've seen JSP some questionable moments at distance. Typically, like I said, I know he's probably been in control time positions for like near 50%, 60% of his octagon time, but when he's not, it's sketchy. Like, it is very, very sketchy. I know he's been knocked out once, been submitted 3 times. The Joe Lazone fight, it's years back, and Lazone was still pretty, more in his prime there. But haven't really seen much improvements in the defensive striking since then. Christian Rodriguez found a ton of success late in that fight. If Onama lands those kind of shots, I do think this can be a rough night for JSP. And I understand that he has a very decent wrestling upside here, and Onama doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, and that's kind of I've been debating it all week on like money line. I do think Onama money line is value, but there is a path for JSP on control winning minutes here. I just worry if he doesn't, if he doesn't control 3 minutes or more of these early rounds, I think there's a high chance that he can get hurt on the feet. I really, really think there's openings, man. There's openings, and Onama's kind of got to make you pay for that. And he's dynamic enough where he's live throughout the entirety of the fight. Like, Onama can be down here, like down 2-0, getting outworked. He could still, find the chin and end this fight in any second. Like I said, I got half unit on the finish only for Onama. I got a half unit on it. Yeah, I got a half unit on knockout plus 325. And then we're just going to keep eyeing the Onama money line. I don't know if I'd do a full unit because I already have a unit down here. But I think JSP is a great wrestler. Like, honestly, a very, very high-level wrestler. But I think there could be moments where Onama is athletic enough to explode up. And if they're at distance, or even, I worry about JSP's defense here. And I think Onama is not the kind of guy you can go in there trading with. So give me David Onama by knockout here. I don't think there's that much submission equity unless he's able to, it was like a club and sub. I don't think he's not getting a guard sub on JSP. He would probably have to hurt him, but if he does hurt him, I think he follows it up with shots. So I do like that KO prop as well. Anything plus 300 or higher. Next fight up, guys, we got Diniz versus Austin Lane. This is a pass for me. I mean, it's probably Diniz KO round 1, but what is it, minus 125? I'm not paying that on a UFC debutant, even though it's Austin Lane. So I think Austin Lane is terrible. He's actually getting up there in age, as we know with these ex-NFL players. They usually don't have great durability, and we've seen it with Austin Lane. He probably gets knocked out here. There could be value on Diniz, KO 2-3, just contrarian angle, fading the KO round 1 line, but I probably won't get there. It's just a pass for me. All right, this one is everyone's, I think, the most debated fight of the week. We got Karine Silva versus Ariane Lipski. If I think the side was Silva plus money. It's pre-fight money line read. So Silva is very likely to have a ton of success in round 1. She comes out and she'll be calm for a minute or two. I'm oh, Silva's changed, and then something will just turn on a switch in her, and she'll just start going out. She'll be putting everything to every punch. She'll really put a lot of muscle into some of these takedowns. Obviously, she's very live early here. Lipski has never been submitted, actually, which that's great, but she has had a ton of sketchy moments. I want to say, how many times has Lipski been knocked out? 3 or 4, man. Okay, at the UFC level, she's been knocked out 3 times. Yeah, Montana De La Rosa one was a tough look. So all these knockouts too, round 1, round 2, it can come early. So that's why I'm not bullish on Karine Silva sub, because the knockout is very live. What I played myself, this is a very hard fight for me to get a good read on, but if you like Lipski, okay, I don't think you should play her at plus 125 or whatever it's at right now, because round 1 you're going to be sweating bullets. Karine Silva, if she gets a takedown, the live line's going to just spiral into something crazy. So you could probably get better entries on Lipski. You probably can. You probably get way better than plus 130. And then honestly, if you like Lipski here, you're probably just fading Silva's cardio. Like that's what my read is. Like if you're fading Silva, you're fading her that she can't go past 7.5 minutes. Because if she can keep this pace, Lipski is not winning this fight. She is not. If Silva can put on 15 minutes of what she's been doing to these girls, there is no way Lipski wins this fight. But if you're playing Lipski, like I said, I think it's a fade on Silva's cardio, and that she would probably, she can't get the takedowns if she's shooting a ton. We've seen Lipski make a ton of improvements in her takedown defense. So I played Lipski round 3. The line at the time was plus 900 Lipski. So I split it. I played submission plus 4,000, and then for 0.05 units, and then I played 0.1 units on Lipski KO3. So pretty much I averaged it out somewhere around like 1,400 like Lipski round 3. But it's not a confident read. It's 0.15 units. I just think right now, I missed Silva a couple weeks ago at good plus money. So currently, I really don't want to back Lipski plus 130. I don't really want to bet her live because you can get a good entry on Lipski and then all of a sudden end of round 2 or even early round 3, see if Silva just chins her. So I worry about that. So yeah, I just took a very small stab on Lipski round 3 there. All right, guys, next fight up, we got the co-main event. Ryan Spann versus Bogdan Guskov. This is crazy. This is a main event, but I'm actually excited for it. I think this has like a ton of like fun, weird meme potential. So on one side, Ryan Spann, I'm sorry, you can't play. I know he has a ton of advantages here. If he chose a path of least resistance, the grappling upside is there. Ryan Spann probably doesn't do that. He probably stands and strikes with Guskov. I mean, it's Ryan Spann. You cannot expect him to, make this easy. If you're standing with Guskov, like, he's good at one thing, man. He can throw down in round 1. So I didn't even place it yet. I'm about to get to it probably like right after the video. We're going to get Guskov round 1 KO. I threw a stab on the bet online opener plus 475. And then, but no, the main one I got on plus 420. We're going to tip out. I see that line available in 2 books. Probably going to do it for 0.2 units. So I'll have the slip up on here, but I'll send it in the Discord now. Next fight up, guys, we got... That was a long breakdown, guys. I don't trust Ryan Spann at chalk. I think Guskov, you can get more value out of his money line. So we're going to take a shot on the dog there in round 1. All right, finally, guys, we got the main event. We got Nicolau and Alex Perez. At first glance, a couple weeks back when I saw this was announced, not a month, maybe a month. I know it's short notice for Perez, but it's not that. He's had some time to prepare. When I first saw it announced, I was thinking that I'd like Nicolau, and after watching the tape back, man, I don't know how you get to Nicolau minus 170. I mean, he's a better fighter, skill for skill, sure, but I don't love the low volume. He's a back foot counter striker who doesn't really separate. Like, that's just really I think he's very, very skilled when he lets his hands go, and yes, it's effective when he's a counter striker. It works against anyone. But in terms of minute winning, I don't love him as a minute winner. He just fights really close. Let's look through the record, man. He dropped round 1 to John Marega. Cop. Who cares? It's not a bad person to. That's his best performance to date. And that fight in itself, I know he's coming off being chinned, but he did go 15 minutes with Manel Cop. So I do think the chin narrative at times is a little overblown on Nicolau. I mean, head kick knockout, and he got kneed directly on the chin. It happens. But back to him losing first rounds, though, which he does a ton of. He dropped the first round versus Tim Elliott. David Dvorak doubles him up in round 1. There's just a lot of question marks that I have on Nicolau, what it looks like, what happens when he doesn't, find a submission here. I do think the leg kicks of Perez can slow some of the lateral movement of Nicolau. And then I will say for Perez, I know I talked a lot of shit on where Perez is at mentally for the Machado fight, and I still have a ton of questions. I really don't know where his head's at, but I do think it's a good thing that he's stepping right back in there, and he honestly didn't look completely terrible in the Machado fight. Could have easily won that decision. Overall, guys, right now I did bet on Alex Perez decision plus 600 for quarter unit. And I'm just fading. Like I said, I do think Nicolau sub is live, but Perez is great takedown defense. And I know, if Perez decides that he, wants to shoot heavily here, yes. If Perez wants to wrestle, which he can wrestle, there is wrestling upside there, I would be a bit concerned about the front chokes of Nicolau. But I don't know, man. I don't think Nicolau subs plus 300. I think it should be a bit wider than that. And then even for Perez KO, I think that's a little overstated. Perez is not the kind of guy. I mean, yeah, leg kick. He's had some knockouts with his hands, but he's not the kind of guy who's like putting you out with one punch. So I do think this can go extend a good bit, and I don't know what Nicolau looks like late. We'll see. I just don't think he separates enough to justify a minus 170 price tag. So I will likely be playing Alex Perez money line as well. But for now, we're just going to play that decision plus 600. All right, guys, that is it for this card. Couple bets, man. Honestly, more than I thought I would have. And this should be a pretty fun card. So if you like the video, guys, please comment, like, subscribe. I'm now going to do a quick rundown through UFC 300. Let's just start off. Let me pull up the card, honestly. So first bad bet of the night. I liked my bet on Jim Miller knockout. That was his path. Plus 600 was a good line there. What I screwed up there, Sunday night, I locked in Jim Miller money line at plus 150, expecting a KO line at plus 300 something. And I wish I just waited for props on Monday. I would have just played, like a half unit on knockout probably. But instead I ended up with like a 1.5 unit position on Jim Miller, which probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world. When his path was the knockout. So lost 1.5 units on Jim Miller there. We did have we had one winning bet early on. I did hit on that Lopez knockout. Lopez KO, Lopez money line. We won a little bit there. But early on in the prelims, I gave away a little bit on Marina half unit. Honestly, I don't really hate that bet. It's just kind of me putting up blinders to Andrade's wrestling upside. So definitely, not the smartest thing to do there. Bo Nickel round 2 knockout. I was being greedy. Should have played I had a good read on Nickel round 2. I don't know why I had to go for the plus 1,000 prop, and I could have played the plus 440. And then the Kayla Harrison one was another one where I thought KO at plus 500 was honestly value, but it probably should have just played her, ITD, just lay a little bit more chalk there. But yeah, early on, guys, early on the card, after Jalen Turner, did his little stunt, I've lost on Jalen Turner before at chalk, and sometimes I didn't learn my lesson there, and so after the Jalen Turner fight, I was already down like 5 units, and like I said, man, just a lot of forced reads. Like Jalen Turner and Weili Zhang could have been a 1 unit parlay. There's just no reason to put 2.5 units there. The 1.5 on Jim Miller, just kind of getting a little bit too aggressive on shit bets. So lost two units on Justin Gaethje. Honestly, it's a fight that. Yes, Holloway was side, clearly. I just think I overrated the leg kick upside, and I just really thought that Justin would be the one to do damage in the early, the round 1, the round 2, but it was Max, and I thought I have an I thought Justin at 160 pre-fight was the side, because I thought early on, round 1, round 2, he'd be landing the better shots. He'd be landing a ton of kicks. And I thought, if I saw Max gaining, I could possibly hedge out of some of my position, and it was just dumb, man. Faded Max to chalk. Like that's what I get. Overall, guys, like I said, -7 units. It is my worst card. Like I said, in years of gambling, man, it's the most I ever lost in a night. So not happy with it. No excuses. I think overall just a little too trigger happy when I'm at my best when I'm being selective and picking my spots. We did cash 2.8 units on PFL and Cage Warriors last weekend. Small winning PFL card, pretty much even night. And then Cage Warriors we swept. Hit on Sean Clancy Jr., hit on that, got Michael Blair. One thing I'll say about these regional promotions, guys, like, it's good to have multiple books. You can catch some pretty crazy arbitrage opportunities. I tipped out this Blair one on Saturday. And, yes, guys, when you hit these stale lines and you put a lot of money on them, yes, I'm making my account flagged and limited. But for now, I'll take the free money. If you're going to give me free arbitrage opportunities, and on Bet365, I don't have the craziest limits right now. So with bowl I do, but Bet365, I'm pretty good. So I want to keep hitting those when they give them to me. That is it, guys. If you like the video, please subscribe, please comment, like. Got a free Discord, link is in the bio. Got some sharp guys in there. Everyone's talking fights, putting their thoughts out there. So join up. Appreciate all you guys. Let's make some money this weekend.